What's happening, YouTube? It's your boy Lil Sippy, the most hated. You know what I'm saying? We got some we got some haters mad today. They real triggered. So it's funny. I like to see them mad, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, man, today I'm gonna be breaking down Lil Durk's indictment. Well, actually not the indictment, the criminal complaint. Criminal complaint really goes into like the details. The indictment's just gonna basically say the charges. You know what I'm saying? So I actually haven't even really looked at this much myself. But yeah, this Lil Durk's criminal complaint, it was filed on the 24th. So like, what was that, 6 days ago? But I think it just got unsealed like a day or two ago, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, check it out. United States of America versus Durk Banks, aka Lil Durk. I, the complainant in this case, state that the following is true to the best of my knowledge and belief, beginning on an unknown date, but no later than on or about August 18th, 2022, and continuing until at least August 19th, 2022, in the County of Los Angeles in the Central District of California. The defendant violated United States Code, Title 18, Section 1948, Sub A, which is conspiracy to use interstate facilities to commit murder for hire resulting in death. The criminal complaint is based on these facts. Please see attached affidavit. We got the affidavit right here. I, Sarah Corcoran, so she's a FBI special agent, right? I, Sarah Corcoran, being duly sworn, declare and state as follows. Purpose of affidavit. 1. This affidavit is made in support of a criminal complaint and arrest warrant against Durk Banks, also known as a.k.a. Lil Durk, a.k.a. Mustafa Abdul Malak Banks, for violation of Section 1958 Sub A, conspiracy to use interstate facilities to commit murder for hire resulting in death. 2. These facts set forth in this affidavit are based upon my personal observations, my training and experience, and information obtained from various law enforcement personnel and witnesses. This affidavit is intended to show merely that there is sufficient probable cause for the requested complaint and warrant. It does not purport to set forth all of my knowledge of or investigation into this matter. Obviously, there's going to be a whole lot more evidence than this, is basically what she's saying. Unless specifically indicated otherwise, all conversations and statements described in this affidavit are related in substance and in part only. Background of affiant. 3. I'm a special agent with the FBI and have been so employed since April 2010. I am assigned to the Violent Crimes Squad in the Los Angeles field office and work a variety of crimes, including murder for hire, kidnappings, hostage-taking, robberies, extortions, aggravated threats, assaults on federal officers, firearms violations, and felonies at federal facilities. Upon joining the FBI, I attended and graduated from the FBI Basic Special Agent Training course in Quantico, Virginia, where I received training in a variety of investigative and legal matters, including the topics of Fourth Amendment searches, the drafting of search warrant affidavits, and probable cause. In my current role, I am assigned to a violent crime criminal squad where I have experience conducting and assisting with multiple violent crime investigations as described above. I have formal training in case management, interviewing and interrogation, crisis management, crime scene analysis, cellular telephone analysis, evidence collection, social media exploitation, and handling of confidential sources. Summary of probable cause. This is where it really gets into it. Banks is the leader of the Chicago-based rap collective known as Only the Family, or OTF. In addition to OTF's status as a rap collective, I know based on the investigation that OTF also acts as an association in fact of individuals who engage in violence, including murder and assault, at the direction of Banks and to maintain their status in OTF. Basically, they're saying OTF is a gang. Like we didn't know that, right? For example, based on evidence collected during the investigation, including the interview of witnesses, we got footnote 1 right there. Let me read that right quick. Due to serious safety concerns, this affidavit does not provide the identity of these witnesses based on the FBI's investigation. I know that witnesses and or their family members have already received threats and or have been contacted in what appear to be attempts to influence their participation in this investigation. End of footnote 1. I know that Banks put a monetary bounty out for an individual with whom Banks was feuding named TB. Now, I don't know if that's Lil Pab's initials or it's probably Quando Rondo's initials. I don't really keep up with Quando Rondo that much to know what his government name is, but I'm going to assume that's Quando Rondo. But I guess I could look it up on my phone real quick. What Quando Rondo's initials are? Hold on, give me 2 seconds. Taekwon Terrell Bowman. So it's probably Quando Rondo, right? As detailed below, on August 19th, 2022, multiple OTF members and associates used two vehicles and worked in tandem to track, stalk, and attempt to murder TB at a gas station located in Los Angeles, California. The co-conspirators fired at least 18 rounds at TB's vehicle, striking and killing SR, which is Lopab, TB's family member who was traveling with TB. I think Lopab is Quando's cousin, I want to say. 6. On October 17th, 2024, a grand jury sitting in the Central District of California returned an indictment charging 5 co-conspirators, Kevon London Grant, DeAndre Dontrell Wilson, Keith Jones, David Brian Lindsay, and Asia Houston, with crimes arising from the murder, including murder for hire and conspiracy to commit murder for hire resulting in death in violation of United States Code Title 18, Section 1958, Sub A. See United States v. Kevon London Grant, case number 224, 621 MRA. Banks is identified as co-conspirator 1 in the indictment, which is incorporated herein by reference. 7. Based on the investigation and as described below, evidence shows that Banks ordered TB's murder and that the hitman used Banks and OTF-related finances to carry out the murder. For example, bank and flight records show that an OTF member and close associate of Banks, co-conspirator 3, coordinated and paid for Jones, Lindsay, Wilson, Houston, and another OTF member, co-conspirator 2, to travel from Chicago to California on the day before the murder, August 18th, 2022. Co-conspirator 3 paid for the flights using a credit card linked to Banks and OTF. Around the time that co-conspirator 3 purchased the co-conspirators' flights to California, iCloud records show that a phone number associated with Banks texted co-conspirator 3, "Don't book no flights under no names involved with me." God, Lil Durk is so slow. This is crazy. 8. Additionally, on the same day that the hitman traveled to California from Chicago, Banks also traveled to California with another charged co-conspirator, Grant, on a private jet. Later that day, Grant purchased ski masks for the shooters to use to commit the murder and paid for the other co-conspirators' hotel room using a credit card in Banks' name. Earlier this morning, October 24, 2024, federal and local law enforcement executed multiple search warrants at locations associated with OTF members in and around the Chicago area and arrested Grant, Wilson, Jones, Lindsay, and Houston. After executing the warrants, the FBI learned that Banks had been booked on at least 3 international flights scheduled to leave the United States today. When Banks arrived near one of the departing airports, he was arrested by law enforcement personnel. Statement of probable cause. Based on my training and experience, my personal involvement in this investigation, conversations with other law enforcement officers, witness statements, and review of reports and other documents prepared by law enforcement officers, I am aware of the following. A. Chicago-based hitman traveled to Los Angeles to murder a rival of Banks. 11. On October 17, 2024, a grand jury returned an indictment charging Grant, Wilson, Jones, Lindsay, and Houston with murder for hire and conspiracy to commit murder for hire resulting in the death of SR. Lopab, right? In violation of Section 1958 Sub A. And discharge of firearms and machine guns in furtherance of a crime of violence resulting in death in violation of Section 924 Sub C, Sub 1, Sub A, Sub 3. Sub C, Sub 1, Sub B, Sub 2, and Sub J, Sub 1. The grand jury also charged Jones with possession of a machine gun in violation of Section 922 Sub O. As alleged in the indictment, on August 19, 2022, SR and others, including SR's family member TB, Rap artist known as Quando Rondo were near their vehicle at the gas station across from the Beverly Center in Los Angeles when 3 gunmen opened fire on the vehicle, killing SR. Law enforcement personnel subsequently recovered 18 shell casings from the murder scene. At the time of the murder, TB had a public feud with Banks, aka Lil Durk. Banks is a Chicago-based gang member and leader of the rap collective known as Only the Family, or OTF. We got footnote 2, which says, based on open source research, which means looking on the internet, I know that Banks has attempted to publicly distance himself from suspected gang and/or criminal activity. CEG Lil Durk launches the Durk Banks Scholarship Fund at Howard University with Amazon Music. Available at, and they have the link, April 14th, 2023. Rapper Lil Durk turned to therapy to cope with tragedies. Available at blah, 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 May 29th, 2023. Lil Durk says he ain't a felon anymore after criminal record is cleared. Everyone should get second chances. Available at Complex, September 23rd, 2024. End of footnote 2. The feud stemmed from a November 6, 2020 murder where an associate of TB shot and killed an OTF rapper named Davon Bennett, aka King Von. Bennett was a member of OTF and Banks' close friend. According to open source reporting and witnesses, Banks placed a monetary bounty on TB's life. Footnote 3. As described above in footnote 1, due to significant concerns about witness safety, this affidavit does not provide the identity of these witnesses. Based on the investigation to date, including open source research, my training and experience investigating gangs and violent crime, and witness statements, OTF is a hybrid organization that functions as a Banks-led music collective and a gang. Based on the investigation to date, including conversations with other law enforcement agents and witness statements, Houston and Wilson are associated with OTF, and Lindsay and Jones are associated with other gangs in Chicago. B. The hitmen travel using funds linked to Banks. 16. I know the following based on my review of LAPD police reports, surveillance footage, bank and flight records, witness statements, and homicide detectives from the LAPD and federal investigators involved in this case. A. On August 18th, 2022, the day before SR's murder, OTF members learned of the location of TB from a longtime OTF affiliate, co-conspirator 4. After OTF members learned this, the following men took a one-way flight from Chicago to San Diego: Jones, Lindsay, Wilson, Houston, and co-conspirator 2. The one-way tickets to San Diego were purchased using an American Express credit card ending in 2039 and in the name of co-conspirator 3, who is also associated with OTF and Banks. Based on records from Apple, I know that on the same day, a number ending in 9595, believed to be associated with Banks. Footnote 4. Let me read footnote 4. Facts associating this number with Banks include co-conspirator 3 and Grant saving this number with contact names associated with Banks, and Banks self-identifying using this number in a February 2022 text message to an individual in Florida unrelated to this investigation. End of footnote 4. Sent a text message to co-conspirator 3 stating, "Don't book no flights under no names involved with me." Based on my review of hotel records, I know that Grant rented and paid for a room at the Sheraton Universal Hotel in Universal City, California on August 18th, 2022 using an American Express card in Banks' name ending in 1015. Jones, Lindsay, Wilson, Houston, co-conspirator 2 stayed at the hotel the night before the co-conspirators track stalked and attempted to kill TB. Based on my review of bank records, I know the 2039 and 1015 credit cards were issued under an account belonging to OA and Astronaut Sounds LLC. Based on public information, I know that OA was Banks' manager in or around 2022. Georgia's Secretary of State online corporation records show that Astronaut Sounds LLC was initially registered by OA in 2017. A request of amendment was filed in 2021, and a new manager, Banks, was added to the business. The bank records also show that the Astronaut Sounds' American Express account had 4 credit cards issued to 4 individuals: Banks, co-conspirator 3, Banks' father, DB, and OA. Based on my review of records from a private airplane company, I know that Banks and Grant flew on the same airplane from Los Angeles to Miami on August 16, 2022, and back to Los Angeles on August 18, 2022, the day before SR's murder. Records from a rental property show that Banks' manager, O.A., rented a house in Encino, California from July 1st, 2022 to October 1st, 2022. Based on investigators' review of photographs of the interior of the Encino rental, I know that video footage from an August 18, 2022 podcast shows the host of the podcast with Banks, wherein Banks appears to be inside the Encino house. On the day of the murder, August 19, 2022, surveillance video shows TBSR and others leave their hotel in Los Angeles and enter a black Cadillac Escalade. The Escalade surveillance video taken from numerous locations throughout Los Angeles, including TB's hotel and the gas station where the murder occurred, show that two vehicles followed the Escalade for hours leading up to the shooting. That's kind of crazy that they were being followed for hours. G1 vehicle was a white BMW, murder vehicle 1, footnote 5. Let me read footnote 5 real quick. Footnote 5. Based on the investigation, Grant was the primary driver of murder vehicle 1. As discussed above, in addition to driving the vehicle, Grant took steps to help facilitate the murder, including booking the hotel room for the hitman. Additionally, GPS data associated with murder vehicle 1 shows that the vehicle was parked outside of a sporting goods store at the approximate time that 4 black ski masks matching the appearance of those used by the shooters were purchased. End of footnote 5. Where was I? There. And the other was a white Infiniti, murder vehicle 2. Among other things, surveillance video from the murder scene shows murder vehicle 2 parked in an alley behind the gas station where 3 shooters wearing black masks exit the vehicle, later identified as Jones, Lindsay, and co-conspirator 2, walked to the gas station and then opened fire on the Escalade. The shooters then ran back to the murder vehicle 2 and drove away. Murder vehicle 1 drove away from the area just minutes before the shooting. Approximately 50 minutes after the shooting, surveillance video from an In-N-Out restaurant in Los Angeles shows Grant, Jones, and Wilson arrive in murder vehicle 1. The video also shows Lindsay and co-conspirator 2 arrive at the In-N-Out in a black SUV. Based on a comparison of surveillance video showing the murder to video from the In-N-Out restaurant, law enforcement identified that Lindsay, Jones, and co-conspirator 2 were the individuals who opened fire and killed SR. A few hours after the shooting, Jones, Lindsay, Wilson, Houston, and co-conspirator 2 boarded a flight from San Diego to Chicago. Once again, the credit card was in the name of co-conspirator 3 and used to pay for the one-way tickets. C. Banks booked multiple international flights after law enforcement arrested multiple co-conspirators and executed search warrants at locations associated with OTF members. 17. I know the following based on my conversations with other law enforcement agents involved in the investigation and my personal involvement in the investigation. A. In the early hours of October 24, 2024, law enforcement arrested Grant, Jones, Lindsay, Wilson, and Houston and executed multiple search warrants in the Chicago area, including a warrant to search the home of co-conspirator 3. B. Shortly after making these arrests and executing the search warrants on October 24th, the FBI received notifications from U.S. Customs and Border Protection, CBP, showing that Banks had been booked as a passenger on 2 international flights. One, a one-way flight from Miami to Dubai, UAE, footnote 6, based on open source research, I believe that the UAE does not have a bilateral extradition treaty with the United States. End of footnote 6. Connecting through Doha, Qatar, scheduled to depart the evening of October 24th, and 2, a one-way flight from Fort Lauderdale to Switzerland, connecting via New Jersey, also scheduled to depart the evening of October 24th. Banks did not board either flight. Footnote 7. Extradition to and from the United States, overview of the law and contemporary treaties, Congressional Research Service, available at, there's the link, at approximately 6:40 p.m. Eastern Time. The FBI received an additional CBP notification that Banks had been booked as a passenger on a private plane departing Miami and destined for Italy, scheduled to depart at approximately 9 p.m. Eastern Time and approximately 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Banks was arrested by law enforcement in the vicinity of the departing airport. For all of the reasons described above, there's probable cause to believe that Banks violated Section 1958 Sub A, conspiracy to use interstate facilities to commit murder for hire resulting in death. Tested to by the applicant in accordance with the requirements of Federal Rule of Criminal Procedure 4.1 by telephone on his 24th day of October 2024. I mean, I'm not really going to give too much of a commentary, but, you know, it's not looking good for Durk. One of the things that was kind of weird was some of the co-conspirators were listed by number, co-conspirator 1, 2, 3, and 4, who were involved with the murder, according to the affidavit, but have not been indicted yet, apparently. So I don't know if they're snitching, or I don't know if they're just going to, I don't feel they have enough evidence, and they're going to just try to keep getting more evidence on these people, or what. But, yeah, like, you have to be slow to think you wouldn't get caught for this. You're on camera. They have the GPS from the cars used in the murder. They have your flight records. They have your texts where you're saying don't book them under anything that can be traced back to me, or whatever he said. You know, it's idiotic, but there's really no way. It's obviously a very sloppy drill, but there's really no way to, travel from California to. Travel from Chicago to California with a plan to kill someone, and with I don't know how many people, and get away with it, right? It's not gonna happen. Like, these dudes they're slow. But yeah, I know everybody's been saying OTF Jam snitched, and that's just speculation at this point. There's no actual evidence that he snitched. Everyone's saying that. I know everyone's saying it like it's a fact, but there's no evidence as of right now. We should know soon, right? As soon as these guys get their discovery, I'm sure at least one of them is going to leak the discovery to the public, and we'll be able to see who snitched and all that. But it doesn't really seem like they need Jam to snitch. They have the GPS records, they have all that stuff. So I don't know. But real quick, just before I sign off, people wondering, what is it like facing a federal criminal case? Like, what's your chances of beating it? So check this out. So here are the statistics for 2022. In fiscal year 2022, only 290 of 71,954 defendants in federal criminal cases, about 0.4%, went to trial and were acquitted, according to a Pew Research Center, blah, blah, blah. Another 1,379 went to trial and were found guilty, which is about 2%. The overwhelming majority of defendants in federal criminal cases that year did not go to trial at all. About 9 in 10, 89.5%, pleaded guilty, while another 8.2% had their case dismissed. So, yeah, it's not looking good for him, right? He has about a 90% chance of losing his case. He is at an advantage because he's rich and he can, afford a bunch of good lawyers, right? But he's, I don't know how long they have to admit or, basically announce that they're going to seek the death penalty. I know in Florida it's like within 90 days of your arraignment, the government or the state has to file a notice of intent to seek the death penalty. I don't know when they have to do that in federal court, but we should find out soon if they're going to pursue the death penalty against Lil Durk, which would be really crazy. I doubt that they will, just because it's so expensive. It's such a big use of taxpayer money. To have, because you have to have the guilt phase of the trial unless the defendant pleads guilty, and then you have to have the penalty phase. You have to have like basically two trials, like a bifurcated trial, but it's really like two trials, right? If they do seek the death penalty, I think they'll probably seek it against Durk and maybe not the rest of the defendants, or maybe they'll seek it against the shooters. And I don't know, man. I don't really like to guess because I can't read the prosecutor's mind, right? But it'll be crazy if they, try to seek the death penalty against Durk. That'll be insane. But yeah, not looking good for him. I hope this video is informative. I'm not going to go very much into detail like I did with the Daniel Larson video, just because I'm tired right now. I don't really feel up to it, but I hope this video kind of opened your eyes and kind of help you get a better grasp of the Lil Durk case if you were not really, if you were struggling to understand it. So thanks for watching. I'm probably about to go to sleep right now. Till next time, man. Keep it playing.